let's have a little bit to talk about this. Sometimes you'll find that the grip frame of the gun is flexing, and that shouldn't be happening. What it normally means is that this isn't Loctited correctly, or this isn't tightened down at the bottom. Now the top part of the transfer tube should be Loctited into the body, so it makes a very rigid connection. And then down at the bottom it screws over a brass fitting, and we have, when it screws in, a little Allen key set screws, which you can just see as those silver dots, which lock the bottom together. And that should lock this together to be rigid. Some of the early models didn't have these Allen keys on the bottom, and you needed to Loctite both top and bottom to get the gun to be as rigid as it should be. If your grip is flexing at the bottom, and you can actually feel this flexing, you want to go in there and Loctite those and make sure it's solid. The regulator we have on the bottom here, it's not designed to be user serviced. It's a very reliable regulator, works very well, and so it's actually just designed so you can adjust the pressure, but pretty much you can leave it alone. In the back end of here we have a filter, and it's a sintered bonds filter that actually cleans the gas before it even gets into the regulator of the gun. On the bottom we have a pressure blow off, so if the pressure gets too high it'll actually just release the gas before it goes through and does any damage to the internals of the gun. And on the front we have the brass nut, which is the adjustment for the pressure of the gun. We recommend that the gun works between 180 to 200 psi. More than 200 psi doesn't help anything and does cause, could potentially cause some problems with the solenoid. Less than 180 you might have some issues with drop off. So 180 to 200 psi on the gauge is what we recommend. Occasionally you'll find with a TM7 or a Mini, you'll screw the tank in, you'll hear the gun gas up, and you'll go to play paintball, and when you're shooting quickly you start getting drop off. Now that is almost always caused because when you screwed the tank in and you heard it gas up, you actually didn't open the tank enough to make sure you maintain flow through the full system. When you screw the tank into the gun and you hear the gun gas up, you must keep screwing the tank in until it reaches all the way forwards and hits the stop. It's absolutely crucial to make sure you're opening the valve on the tank enough. So if you get drop off with a Mini, it's 99.9% of the time you simply haven't screwed the tank into the regulator far enough. Again, we don't actually recommend that you mess about with the regulator too much. You do have the adjustment screw on the top here. If you do end up taking it apart and doing any changes to it, there's a little set screw here that needs to be undone before the front cap can come off. One of the most common problems is somebody's messed with the regulator, and one of the reasons we recommend you don't do this is that the pressure will creep up on the regulator gauge. If that's happening to you, simply take off the whole front cap and take out the brass insert screw. With the bottle on the gun, screw in the black cap until the pressure starts going up. Then it's screwed in too far. Back it out a half a turn, tighten down the silver adjustment, I'm trying to keep it on camera, tighten down the silver locking Allen key, then put in the brass screw and adjust it up to get pressure. But we really recommend you don't mess around with the regulator. Keep it set between 180 and 200 psi and you should be absolutely perfect.